That is correct. ROUSH is doing a dual inlet throttle body. I'm going to pop the hood of my car and let's talk about it a little bit more in detail. And I apparently started a shitstorm on one of the Facebook S650 groups, and the owner of Whipple, I think, was on there talking about the dual inlets as well and why they went with a single inlet. So I'm going to pop the hood and let's just talk about it a little bit and see what we can expect. All right, so let's talk about the GT and the Dark Horse, which in this case is mine. Dark Horse, the design, the flow. The head, or I shouldn't say the head, but the inlets are right smack boom, right where the air intake is, right? And the thing is these actually flow really well. Now, one tidbit of information, I've said this in a previous video, this is the main throttle body of the system. Now, what does that mean? When you're driving around, this is the only throttle body that opens up. When you go wide open throttle, this one slowly opens up over time. Wide open throttle, they're both open. So it flows really well. And there's actually an article of Whipple, I'll link in the description, saying that these flow really well. But when it came to a supercharger application, they found out that two inlets, two open throttle bodies, doesn't flow as well as one massive one, even though they have, the dual intakes, was one massive inlet. They said that flows better than this. But what's weird is they kind of contradict themselves, at least this is how I interpret it, because they said this, as it stands, flows really well. Well, you guys might have seen my last video, which was literally yesterday, or have seen the supercharger that circulated online a long time ago. Was a VMP Odin kit with real long necks. It looked really weird, and that is what everyone was speculating the ROUSH supercharger would be. But as you saw in the beginning of the video, it looks kind of exactly like this. Now, I started some kind of shit show on Facebook, on the S650 group. That's public. You can go check it out if you want. And the owners of Whipple and people who work with Whipple were talking about how they designed initially the twin throttle body setup. And I asked if they've tried all different, R&Ds to see if it would work. Now, one thing that's weird to me is ROUSH is doing exactly what this setup looks like. And I would imagine that Whipple did the same. We don't know what the power numbers are going to be, but Whipple claims that doing that setup, which, again, we don't know how they did it. And I also want to do a disclaimer. I'm not saying ROUSH is better than Whipple. I'm not saying Whipple is better than ROUSH. I'm in no one's corner. I like competition, and that is that. So let's put that to rest right now. This isn't a ROUSH video. This isn't a Whipple video. This is just informative. So we don't know how they tested this. So you cannot say that the TVS, which it looks like a Magnuson, the Magnuson ROUSH supercharger is going to be bad. I think it's going to actually be able to handle 8,000-9,000 horsepower, unlike what this Whipple comment said from Dustin Whipple. I do believe it's Dustin. It's up on the video. So with that being said, I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you excited for this ROUSH Magnuson dual inlet, not long necked, but really honestly just similar to the actual stock setup? It literally looks just like this in my opinion. Are you excited for it? It sounds mean. That whine is insane. It sounds and almost looks like a Hellcat blower. That is sick. That is absolutely amazing. The amount of air that's being rushed into it is really good, just like the stock design. One last thing I want to leave you with this is, if these cars ever get unlocked for tuning, which doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon, Ford is giving people access to tuning. So I think the next people to get access is Procharger. But if we ever become able to tune naturally aspirated, I think these things are going to be monsters and make way more horsepower, a full bolt-on E85, than the S550s because of this design. Being able to actively both open those up and everything, the amount of airflow that these provide is absolutely nuts. So, yeah, again, let me know what you guys think about the ROUSH setup. I am going to wait to supercharge this lovely, lovely, beastly Dark Horse because you never know. It might be a very good setup, and then I'll have to choose. Do I want a Whipple or do I want a ROUSH? That's it with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.